Hey, what's going on? My name is Brian Bauer. Today we are having a chat with Arav Krishnan. He's all the way from Bangalore, India. He is the youngest person who has been on my channel for these kind of interviews and all that stuff. And he's a really great musician. And he likes a lot of really awesome music and stuff too. And it was just fun to sit down and chat with him and just, pick the mind of a teenager and stuff. A lot of the younger people today are super talented. Arav is definitely one of them. You can check out all his links below. It's all in the description. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight to the interview. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brian Bauer, and today we are here with the one and only
Arav Krishnan.
Arav Krishnan, and we're gonna pretend like we didn't have however many difficulties for the last little bit, and it's been awful. I think we're set up to go. Dude, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good, bro. Just had to finish some school stuff. I was doing some album tracking actually. So that was pretty fun.
That's super cool, man.
Yeah, so just getting some rhythm guitars done. And my arm was giving me a little bit of trouble, like the nerve thing, right? So I can't push it beyond a certain point.
Oh, really?
But until then, yeah, so.
Oh, okay. We'll get into the whole recording thing and all that stuff here in a little bit. For all the older people out there, says society doesn't, people don't like, rock music, and this generation, they only like trap rap. And Arav, you don't like trap rap, do you?
Nah, I like 90s rap, that's about it.
You like 90s rap and stuff. Yeah. And I'm kind of like that a little bit too. But the world isn't doomed, because we have young people like Arav out there. And I know most people probably haven't heard of Arav. We met a few years ago on the internet. We'll talk maybe about that a little bit. But Arav is the youngest person that has been on an interview on this channel. How old are you, Arav?
I'm gonna be 17 in 2 months. So
you're gonna be 17. I thought you were 18 right now, but 17 in 2 months. Okay, so you're still 16, man. You were young for doing the kind of stuff that you do, man. Anyway, and a lot of people probably have not heard of Arav, because Arav is over in India, and most of my audience is, the US, Canada, England. But the great thing about the internet is it's kept a lot of the world just lonely, but it has brought a lot of people together too. And if it wasn't for this thing, the internet, I would never know who you are, and you would never know probably who I am and all that stuff. Really? We'd be stuck with just still knowing what the radio has given to us. So world isn't doomed. We have Arav. Now, Arav, what have you been up to these days? I know you have a new song out. It's called Stream. It's on my playlist, Wavemaker and Friends. So why don't you talk about some of the music and stuff that you've done?
So this is the mandatory self-promoting bit.
That's what it's about.
So I'm Arav Krishnan, and I've been writing music and releasing music for about 2 years now. My music is on all major streaming services, so Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, whatever you listen on. And I also professionally mix and master music. So if anyone wants to get their stuff done, just reach out to me through my Instagram, which is Arav Krishnan, AravKrishnan. No fancy numbers or symbols or anything like that. I just keep it simple.
Links are below.
And I also set up a website with some of my work. Excuse me, with some of my work and all that stuff, in case people want to have a look at that. So yeah,
super cool.
So now about what I've been doing, I'm trying to finish up my solo thrash metal album. So the single released To Take the Fall about same time last year. It's nearly the end of August, so around the same time last year we're finally doing the album to that. So with some of the best musicians India has to offer, the Indian metal scene, guys from Chaos, Inner Sanctum and all that are contributing. So this is gonna be pretty huge. In addition to that, I have a single dropping next Monday. So
next Monday. It's not the one tomorrow, but the one. This video will be out tomorrow. We're doing this on a Sunday morning, my time. It's Sunday evening in India time. So yeah, it's really hard to line all this stuff up. So we have a Sunday, so we can kind of do this. You have all day. I have a lot of the day after the fact. It's kind of it's a little bit hard, to line all this stuff up. So either way, that's going to be a pretty cool project, and I wanted to actually talk about some of that. So, you said you got this project coming up. Now, Arav, how long have you been playing guitar for? You're a pretty young dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good at it. And I know it's not like you have 20 plus years of experience out there.
Yeah.
And so when did you start playing guitar?
Well, I think I started in 2018, around June. July 2018, and so yeah, it's been 4 years, 4.5, I'd say.
4.5.
So yeah, I think before that I used to dabble in some chords and all that, but I don't think I ever really played. And then I started actually learning about 4 years back. The first 2 years was like screwing around, and then at some point I realized, hey, I'm actually somewhat okay at this, and then let's actually do this seriously. And then the bug finally bit me, and then it's all been leading up to this.
Nice. How old were you when you started?
I think 12.
Okay, 12. Man, it's just so weird. Like, you're 2018, like in 2018 was like 4 years ago. If you think time is slow when you're like teenager and stuff, like 4 years in adult time is like nothing. It's just a time warp. I was like, wait, 2018. I've actually played guitar longer than you've been alive. But what you have been able to do, and you would have, not just you, but what you've been able to do at this time, I don't remember kids being as good as you are now, and like the stuff you can do. Now, I want to keep in mind, it was a different time when I was a teenager, and I'm not that old. So like, I'm 34 at the time of filming this video. So if you're watching this in a year, I guess I'm older, maybe gray-headed. No, I'll still be bald. Either way, so when I was younger, we didn't have all like the tech, as much of the tech as we do now, or the resources to be good. And so I've noticed that there's still like, I know there's probably like a ton of just mediocre players, but then there's like you and some different ones that I see kicking around that are just like, man, these people are young and you guys accomplish so much. And I think that's so cool. You're able to do, like, you're kind of doing what I kind of dreamt of. You can mix and master in your bedroom as a teenager. But nobody really had that tech at the time. It required more. And now we have, just need a PC. And it's like, now it's not just as easy as that. You have to put in the time to get good. But you've put in that time to get good at it and whatnot. So, Arav, so you've been playing guitar for 4 years now, or so. It's 2022, so about 4 years, maybe dabbled a little bit longer. Now, as a young guy, what are some of the influences that you had with guitar? Like, to get into music and guitar, what's some of the stuff that you liked?
So it's like, earlier I used to listen to rap and pop and all that. That was like, 5 years back. And then I think Linkin Park was the first band, and then I remember I used to really love Linkin Park when I was first playing guitar. I think one of these days there was a Slipknot video in the recommended section of YouTube, and from then it's just like, what the fuck is this? And then when you're like 13 and you hear Slipknot for the first time, it's it's kind of nuts. And then like family, friends and all that. Like my dad's also, I wouldn't say metalhead, but he listens to some metal and rock and a lot of rock, old school stuff. Mm-hmm. And family, friends are kind of really into metal. So I've been going to shows since then. So I've seen some fantastic Indian bands and even some international bands. I think I've seen Suffocation live here, which was pretty killer.
Oh man!
Supposed to see Karma, I think in 2020, but then COVID. So
yeah, that's the kind of thing that happens, right? It's funny when you mentioned two bands there. You mentioned Suffocation and Slipknot. I was in Toronto, Canada, like a few months ago, and if I would have stayed like one more day and left like 2 days later, I could have seen Suffocation play.
Oh,
they had a club show, but it was just expensive, and I had to get home. The show wasn't, but I had to stay there because, I mean, it's quite far from home for me. So, because I live out on the east coast of Canada, that's like not, I don't know if we call it central, but it's out there more. It's a couple hour flight, but still money. And Slipknot, it's funny. You're saying like you're like a 13-year-old listening to Slipknot. I'm pretty sure that when I was 13 is when I first heard of Slipknot. They've weirdly enough, like, they're not a new band anymore.
Yeah.
But they've been around. They've been around that long, and they've managed to stay relevant. So, what's your favorite Slipknot song? I wonder.
Actually, now I'm not that much into them. But like when there was like a gateway, and then I think like more I found out that like thrash is kind of my thing. Thrash, death grooves, like in that kind of area. And obviously now I become a lot more open-minded. So anything rock, metal I usually listen to. So prog, instrumental stuff. Heck, even in Hindi rock, Indian stuff. If it's in different languages, as long as it's good, I don't care. And even like branching out to like I said, like 90s rap and all that stuff. As long as it's got a nice groove to it, and like it's not it's not Nicki Minaj, I will listen to it.
As long as it's not Nicki Minaj, I will listen to it. I think I could relate to that one. I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan either, and I'm fairly open-minded, and I have probably some garbage taste in music, but it's just one of those things, you know. I get it, man. Yeah. So when it comes to music, it's just interesting to hear how a younger person gets into things. Like, every generation has their own thing they got into. And I still think some of that equates, like AC/DC was a kind of a gateway for a lot of, you know, people that are older, like my parents' age and whatnot. Exactly. Now, then there's the, you know, all the other bands that come along too. And then everything, that sounds horrible. But it's funny because you're like Slipknot, big gateway.
Yeah.
Like, and they still are a gateway. I mean, so are some of the other older bands too, but some of those that they associated boomers, but Slipknot, completely different. So you've mentioned a lot of Indian bands. So who's your favorite Indian metal band right now?
Oh man, that's tough. That's really tough.
You don't have to pick just one. You don't have to pick just one.
Yeah, there are multiple. So there's a band called Godless. There's a band called Gutslit. There's a band called Chaos. So Chaos, actually, the lead guitarist of Chaos, probably one of the best guitarists in the world. So he's my producer for the album, which is pretty cool. And then there's Inner Sanctum, the Downtrodens. No, I'm missing a few. There's a lot more. But yeah, honestly, we have a really nice metal scene. It's a shame that more people don't get to know about the kind of bands that are here, because they're really good. So yeah, there's Cryptos as well. Cryptos is doing pretty well for themselves, I think. They're playing tours in the UK and all that. And obviously, how can I forget Bloodywood? Those guys are doing phenomenal, and I'm lucky enough to know them personally. So they're all really nice guys, absolutely like phenomenal dudes, incredibly tight musicians, and they throw on a hell of a live show. So
that's super cool, man. Yeah, and it's good. I mean, it sounds like you're getting out to the shows. Are shows there, like, do they have like an age limit, like 19 up? I'm guessing they don't.
They didn't. Like in some venues they didn't, but now they're starting to have one. But either way, I go with like my like family friend's dad and a couple of other people. So that's set with me.
Okay, so somebody take it and stuff. As for other bands, we're talking about Indian bands. What are some of the big bands from the rest of the world that the rest of us may know of that you've heard of, like the Megadeth, Metallicas and stuff? I'm going to take a shot that you probably are into Metallica.
Yeah. But, obviously the big four. I love Slayer and Testament, Exodus. A lot of the good thrashy stuff. Actually, I'm really into melodic death metal.
Oh yeah,
that's probably my favorite genre, to be honest. So Bellacore, Dark Tranquility. Recently got into Omnium Gatherum. Omnium Gather. I forgot the last thing I was felt, but it's a fantastic band. Insomnium. Yeah, Insomnium, Amorphis, Kalma.
Oh man.
What else? So yeah, like it's just fantastic stuff. Like Melodic is just like the best of everything.
That's super awesome. I noticed on your Instagram story this morning you had a New Dynamic by Omnium.
Yeah, I actually just got into them today. It's one of those bands I never really checked out for some stupid reason, and then today I just felt a random urge to listen to them, and I'm like blown away.
I felt the absolute same way when I found that album like 9-10 years ago. That one is it is apparently that old, but I remember listening. I was like, man, this is good music. This is super.
It's really, really good.
Dark Tranquility, funny enough, like 10 years ago, I actually got to hang out with those guys.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was super cool. I lived in South Korea. I taught English in South Korea for a year. And Dark Tranquility was playing a show. So I went to the show and I got an invite to the after party. And so I went to it was at a restaurant. Like when I say like wild party, it was like a restaurant with tarp walls. It was for people outside of North America. Not everything is the same code in the world. No, that one didn't have the tarp walls, but it was, it was a Korean barbecue place. And the only rule I have was that you couldn't walk up to the band when you got there. Just let them be. If they want to talk, they'll come to you. And then eventually that did happen. We kind of just intermingled. There was other people I knew there, so I just like talk to them, and we ended up having our own after party because we had to wait for the buses, and so we all went to a bar and we hung out with Michael Stan, there at the time guitarist and bassist. Their bassist was the guitarist from Soilwork at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, Daniel Atonson. I'm saying it wrong. He's Swedish, but and they were super nice guys, man. You would really like them if you ever can meet Michael. I promise you, he will talk to you. And and it's super cool, man. So this kind of stuff happens. Yeah, melodic death metal, man. It is really cool. I quite enjoyed it. There's some of those bands you mentioned. There was one I completely missed the show of. It was it? Did you mention it was Kalma? Did you mentioned Kalma? Yeah. They played here like before the pandemic and all that stuff, and I missed that show. I didn't go. I don't know much by them. Insomnium, that's a cool band and stuff. I wish those kind of concerts came to where I live, but they don't really too much. Not these days.
I see, like major international bands like outside of Indian don't really come play here that much. So As I Lay Dying came to my city in 2020 before the pandemic shit hit the fan. Around January, so I went. So they killed it. Obviously, I didn't know the shit Tim did then, but yeah, I mean, purely music-wise, they were really good.
Yeah, no, that's super cool, man. That you actually got to go see that. I've never seen As I Lay Dying. I don't really listen to As I Lay Dying, but still, that's pretty awesome, man. Sometimes you got to take those opportunities and just go, because that might be the only one you ever get in life. You know what I'm saying? Bands come and go, and life changes for people. But okay, so since we're on the topic of concerts, out of all the shows you've been to, small, big, whatever, they're international or they're from your local area, what do you think your best?
I forget this? I saw U2 when they came to India.
Nice.
2019. That was phenomenal.
Is that what would you say is your favorite show you've been to? It sounds like U2 was up there.
Yeah, it's between U2 and the recent one that I attended, which was Bloodywood's gig. I honestly don't know how to choose between the two, but U2 was like magical. There was like 300,000 people in a cricket stadium, and then they're all singing along to Bono's words. So that was magical. And there was this section of like a part where he asked everyone to like light the phone, like hold up their phones, switch on the torch and hold it up, and they're singing a song. So there's like absolute darkness, and then you just hear like you just look around, you see like 100,000 phones here, and the light, it looks like a candle. So he really did some really, really cool stuff that day.
That sounds like it was a good show, man. That's super cool.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, man. It's like I've never seen them live. Never really listened to I don't listen to a lot of U2, but they have that ambience and stuff. It's cool.
I mean, they're one of my all-time favorite bands.
Where the Streets Have No Name, though, is a good song. That was probably so good live.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm going to take a shot that's towards the end of the set, but hey, I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of U2, so I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot. I know a buddy of mine here absolutely loves U2. Okay. Anyway, man, so we are going to talk about one of the favorite things to talk about on this channel, which is guitars, man. And
yes, sir.
So, dude, what are you playing for guitars these days? I noticed you have like a few different ones around. So, what's your favorite guitar?
Yes, sir. So I have a Fender Squire Telly in the back. I don't know if it's really visible, but yeah, that's my first electric. I got like 3 years back. And then I have this baby right here. It just put new strings on it for an album recording, so I put in the cover. But this guy, Jackson JS32.
Nice. That's
So
yeah. That was the one you did with Ascent. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, this is the one actually I've been using on every like major release. Other than my band Death Plus, so it's more like a grungy sound. So I went with the Telly for that. I think it was the right choice because I like the way the guitar sound came with that record. Because it is like an Alice in Chains type of sound, so I thought that would go better. But for most of my metal and other like even non-metal stuff, like whatever I usually do, this is my go-to guitar. So recently got it set up with a luthier like around here. He's done a really good job. Action's nice. Honestly, the Floyd has always been a pain in the ass, but now it's a little less cumbersome. And then tuning stability is not bad. And then generally, I just like the feel and the look and the shape and all that. So it's a pretty nice guitar.
That's awesome, man. Floyd Rose. Have you ever had your like points where you're like, "What the hell am I doing with this?"
Yes, 110%. In fact, I never even like got to use it properly because every time I do it, there's just something breaks or something gets screwed up. At this point, I'm like, fuck it, I'm not touching it. I just play without it at this point.
What tremolo do you have on it? Is what Floyd Rose? Is it like a special?
This is a Jackson licensed Floyd.
Yeah, okay. I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
It's garbage.
Yeah, that is a thing with Floyd Roses. You'll kind of learn is that they're not all created equal. I fired it with the special a few times and it seemed okay. The best is still the OFR, the Ibanez original Edge and Low Pro Edge are probably the best ones. I know there's some Schaller and Gotha ones that are really good.
But you like the original Floyd Rose ones are pretty good, like the FR1000 and all of that. If it's that's bound to be good. This is a licensed one, so
yeah. I think the 1000's probably like a middle of the road one. It's a little more money, so it's probably built a lot better. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the main thing there. And as for the OFR, they're made in Germany, I believe, and they have much better metal, and that's the difference with some of those Floyds. And so you're paying for cheaper metal on some of them. That's why the lower end guitars come with cheaper Floyds.
Honestly, this is not it's not a expensive guitar as you can say. It's a mid-range, lower mid-range. It's like what? This was 33,000 Indian rupees. So in dollars, that's 450-ish. Around that much. So it's not a cheap guitar, but it's not an expensive guitar also. It's something in the middle.
Yeah,
I like it now, but obviously like later I'd like to get my hands on a Solar or Jackson Jeff Loomis signature.
I'd love to get a hold of the Jackson Jeff Loomis signature.
The Brandon Ellis signature as well.
Oh, who?
This thing, the Black Dahlia Murders guitarist.
Oh, Brandon Ellers or Ellis. I think Brandon Ellis.
I think it's Ellis. Yeah,
now I gotta look this up. But I was just responding back to my mom. She was asking me if I was going to have dinner with them. But I know who you mean. I gotta look this up to make sure I don't screw this up. I'm not overly familiar with all the. It's Brandon Ellis. Yeah, okay.
I don't really listen to the music that much, but as a guitarist, like I have the utmost respect for the guy because he's a monster.
Oh, he's so good. He plays in Exodus now. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's touring with them, yeah.
He's touring with Exodus because there was the sad news with the singer of Black Dahlia Murder. That was a big band for people too, man. But Brandon Ellis, oh man, that is probably one of the top metal shredders at the moment. Absolutely one of the coolest ones. And I don't necessarily follow every metal band or anything comes out. And I don't know a ton about his projects or anything, but all the clips I've seen him play, he blows everybody out of the water and how good he can do.
The precision, like the musicality, just everything. The guy is a monster.
Yeah.
Somebody just gotta like admire that.
So Okay, so you said you like the Jeff Loomis signature. Now, I'm not sure. Are you a bigger fan of Arch Enemy or Nevermore?
Nevermore. Any day, Nevermore. I honestly don't like Arch Enemy that much.
Okay, and I like some Arch Enemy, but Nevermore was like all the way for me. Like,
that's one of my all-time favorite bands. Like everything in that band was just next level. Varelden's voice, the lyricism, the themes, the abstract ideas, the composition, the 7-string usage, just everything is just like so far ahead of its time. It's just nuts.
Oh man. And so Nevermore, I found them in 2005. Man.
Oh damn, that's when they released This Godless Endeavor, right?
That was This Godless Endeavor. Man, you were on the ball for that kind of stuff, man. They were around before that, like for years, but I was younger too. I was probably younger than you. Like I think when they started doing 7 strings was around 2000.
Dead Heart in a Dead World.
Dude, you were on the ball with Nevermore. You know the history and all that stuff. Like, I didn't even know who they were when they came out because the accessibility to that kind of thing wasn't really around. I had what was on TV.
No internet, so
I didn't have internet at home. We had it at school, but there was no kids around like that were 12 that liked Nevermore. Yeah. They weren't even that big of a band. They were kind of switched. They used to play 6 strings back before that.
Oh, okay.
And then he had a custom built 7-string at that time, and they came out with Dead Heart in a Dead World. And then there was I want to say Enemies of Reality was probably the one after that. That came out I think when I started playing guitar around 03. I just remember when I got my first SGO Guitar World, there was a little ad for Enemies of Reality in there.
Oh, okay.
And then This Godless Endeavor came out, and they really pushed a final product.
Nuts.
And that
album just nuts.
It's great. And back then, do you remember that he had the Schecter signature guitars?
Yeah.
And I played one of those. I never played the Jackson one, but I played the Schecter.
The Schecter one looks gorgeous, actually.
Yeah, it's super nice. And I don't think they produce that one anymore because of the Jackson deal. But if you can get one, they were really cool. But you can always buy a Keith Merrow. You probably know Keith.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even he's a monster.
Oh, man. So you probably know Conquering Dystopia too then, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw Keith put out a new playthrough of one of the old Conquering songs recently on his channel. It's like, oh man, bring that band back. That'd be Loomis. Okay, like here's something to think about for anybody, not just a young person, but there's not a lot of money in a lot of music. That's the sad thing. It's like it's really hard to make a go of it. So most people need to have some other form of income somewhere along the line. Exactly. So Jeff got the gig with Arch Enemy, which is amazing. But Jeff is one of those people who's easy to work with. You're easy to work with. You right now, like you showed, like you set that kind of bar, like hey, it's like, hey, I'm easy to work with too. Just for like all the crap that's happened just to try to get this to work this morning. But either way, Jeff, he just works with whatever bands and he's going to play for the band. But if he
absolutely. He's just such a nice guy. Hey, he has no ego whatsoever, which is nuts because he's one of the greatest of all time. Like honestly, there's no way to rank it or whatever, but I'd absolutely put him up there with anyone. With the stuff he's done.
He's by far one of the best. So we said dream guitars, but if you could have any guitar, since we were on this whole guitar topic, and this is just kind of these videos like a hangout, so I know my phone is all over the place. But if you could have a dream guitar, what would you get? If you were to get one today, what would you get? Price doesn't need to factor in.
I have had my eye on some of the Solars. Then there is obviously the Dime Signature. This thing. That looks beautiful. I had a chance to play a knockoff of that. I don't know if it's a knockoff or an original, but like you know what they do, like the lower model of that. So I had the opportunity to play that a couple of years back, and I loved it. But honestly, I'd still probably go with the Jackson Kelly, like the Jeff Loomis Kelly. It's so gorgeous, and then just everything about it just screams this thing.
Yeah,
It just screams of the perfect guitar.
Dude, I played a Kelly not that long ago, a few months ago. And it was like an X Series one, and it was a solid feeling guitar, man. So I can imagine the Jeff Loomis is going to be a solid step above that.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff. And one of the things is, like we were talking about, like the Floyd Roses and cheaper hardware, cheaper guitars, cheaper hardware.
Oh, yeah, that one will have an excellent one because Jeff uses it like the way he uses it, and obviously his stuff like has a lot of clean parts. I know that side of things is also going to be set because it's going to sound phenomenal.
Absolutely, and that's one thing about guitars too that I like. Like you can get those one-trick ponies. Like, and that's cool when you're only playing that one thing. And I mean, I've got a guitar like that too. But if you're gonna have like one guitar, you want something that can do a lot of stuff. You get those cleans.
Exactly.
And you said you'd like to have a Solar at some point. Solars are pretty good for that, man. I will tell you that much. Like they have their ups and downs, the Solars do, but they can do the cleans, they can do the distortion and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And it's generally like I like Ola, I like what he's doing. He's a nice thing to support.
Ola is a nice guy, man. I don't know if you're on his Discord or anything.
I am.
Yeah, if you're a member, you can get in there. He'll talk to people in the members chat. I can't fault him in any sense. In that sense, he's a very nice guy, and I think you would quite like talking to him. Stuff, and
absolutely.
He is like
actually. I sent fan mail, I think a couple of years back, and his wife actually took the time to respond. So I thought it was really cool.
That is super cool, man. No, they're a nice bunch, dude. So we've been talking about your albums, we've been talking about guitars and all that stuff. Now, we can talk about the whole songwriting thing and blah, blah, blah. But what else do we like to talk about around here? It's how are you recording your stuff? Do you mic an amp? Are you using amp sims these days? I know a lot of people in the bedrooms are using the amp sims, and you're a younger dude, but not just them that use them. Yeah. So how do you record for your albums? Like, how are you going about that? Are you working in the studio, or are you working in your bedroom, or what are you doing?
I've actually got like my bedroom studio sort of set up. I can't move this laptop camera.
Don't worry about it.
Because there's this Ethernet cable. I don't know, it's being a dick to me all day.
That's okay.
Every time I move it, the internet goes. I really don't want something to disconnect.
Don't disconnect it. It's all good.
Yeah. Then there's this bad boy. So this is a pretty basic Focusrite Scarlett solo interface. So through this thing, I just record the DI of the guitar. That goes into a couple of amp sims. So then again, like this I've been doing for what? 2-3 years, like the mixing and the mastering stuff. So at this point, like it's not much of a struggle to find something I like. Obviously, there's a long way to go, learning curve. Definitely, I have a lot to learn, but I'm able to get stuff that I like and I can work with. Sure. So that's pretty simple. I use Audio Assault amp sims because they're pretty cheap, in this good quality, and the impulse responses might not be that great. But I've got a couple of like packs from Get Good Drums. Zilla. I got the V30 one. The V30 thing they released. So that combined with the Audio Assault amp sim, I use the 5151. I think they call it 5050.
Yes, I know they do call it the 5050. I know the one you're talking about.
I use that one.
Yeah,
it's nice and easy to dial in.
And I really like that you really like push like, hey, I use Audio Assault, because everybody goes for whatever signature neural DSPs out there, and I've got
honestly too expensive.
They are expensive.
It's too expensive.
You can get some of the Audio Assault for cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's not even like I'm privileged. Like I can't even complain. But honestly, like why would I spend 8,000, 9,000 Indian rupees on an amp sim when I can spend what, $500, $600, get something that's like almost as good, and like I'd rather just work on my skills and get that to sound good rather than spending money. Now obviously, like once I get to a point where I start like earning money from my music, then I'll buy it, because then I can buy it, and obviously then if I have the means to do it and I want to do it, why the hell not? Why, like even though unnecessarily, why do I want to push for something expensive when something nice and in a good budget range gets the job done well?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with Audio Assault, it's kind of like, okay, it's like bare bones, It's like, but it works. That's the thing, is that people want a lot of features, but do you use a lot of those features?
Exactly. And like you start with like 50 amp sims, and then at this point you can't be bothered to open them. You just use 3. Even 3 is a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what I'm doing with the Kemper, it's the same thing. I can have anything kind of that I really want. If somebody makes a profile that's good of it, you can get whatever thing, and you end up using... I go between about 2 amps about all the time, except the Wavemaker re-release. That was a 5150 and a Friedman, which I've been messing around with those profiles some. I mean, I used to use the 5150 in there all the time, but that one was different. But I actually go between, most of the time, is a Bogner S to C. I
love that one. Yeah,
I have like three spots in my performance that is... Oh, the main 3 is Bogner ST, which is clean, crunch, and distortion. Then my 4th one's actually a PRS Archon. I use the PRS.
Ooh, nice.
And it's just profiles, but you can have... I have a ton of profiles, and people want all these things, but you end up finding like, hey, this one's cool, or this one's unique, or something about that. This sounds good.
But I mean, to be honest, like at times I'm glad I downloaded all that stuff, because there's certain projects. For example, with my grunge band F Plus Flow, so I was producing the singles and where we released. I really like the guitar sound, and it's quad tracked, which I usually don't do, and both the guitar sounds are different. And then for that, I researched what Alice in Chains did on Dirt. And then I changed it up a little bit, like added some of my own stuff. So it's a little bit of research, a little bit of tinkering in the lab. Just like messing around with stuff. So for that is nice to have. Say, for example, he uses a Marshall. It's nice to know I have 4 Marshall apps like this thing. And that's all. Most of it is free stuff, because there's a lot of great free amp sims going around. So just download all of them. And then like you never know when you might actually get the chance to use some of that stuff in a creative way. So
yeah, man. Oh man, amp sims is something I don't mess with a ton. I've messed with the Audio Assault stuff and really do like it. I mess with the I use the Neural DSP as well, but I use the Dark Class, the bass one.
Oh yeah, I mean, see, Neural DSP is great. You get what you pay for, but it is expensive. That's my only thing.
Bit of advice for anybody who's looking to buy Neural DSP plugins or whatever plugins. Try not to pay full price. I mean, they can be worth it, but if you wait to certain times a year, you can just get it then, and you're not going to sound probably a whole lot better than you would with any
and honestly, like even the gear review guys, like as much as I love Ola, Fluff, like you can't trust their reviews. And look around them. Look at the kind of stuff that's there. Like it is legit, like produced like how you would produce a record. Like instead, like one of my favorite guys is Resington. I know him like pretty well. He's a really good friend. Yeah. That guy does a phenomenal job, and like he does it at home. You can see the process. So once you find a couple of guys, and honestly, when I was doing something similar to that like 6 months back, but like once you find a guy you can somewhat trust. For like reviews, just stick to whatever that guy is doing. But it makes sense. You know that guy's doing it from home. There's no additional trickery and no like super polished stuff. It's being mixed at home. It's being mixed at the bedroom, or he's doing it the same way he always does it. Then you can trust that. Yeah, like a review.
Yeah, Resington. Oh man, he is a really good producer of like amp sims and stuff, and making his own IRs and stuff. I've featured his.
The IRs are actually really nice.
He is a great producer and player and all that stuff. Yeah, great shout out for him, because that he is probably, if you want to look at metal stuff, he's probably the best one in the bedroom kind of home guys for sure.
I actually like was learning, like watching him, and then and honestly at this point I always make sure to comment on his videos, and he also does that stuff for mine whenever I upload. So that's like, he's a really nice guy.
I'm really behind on his YouTube videos. I see his Instagram posts, so I do try to comment. I'm just really behind.
I've been like kind of behind on this stuff, because I used to religiously do that. But now I just
I'm behind a lot of the times too, man. That's one thing when you do music and all that stuff, like there's trying to keep up with everybody's stuff, trying to keep up your stuff in your own life. And life happens even more when you get past that 18, 20 mark. I mean, I've got some more time than maybe some folks in my age group, but it's hard to do all of it. But by all means, even if I'm not commenting, I'm still there to support, man. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's super cool. So now I have to ask this question. You talk about writing songs and stuff. What is your approach to how do you start writing a song? Do you have an idea in your head, or do you noodle around? Do you find something cool?
So there's like different stages. So there's times when I'm inspired and then just pick up guitar and then ideas come out. Then there are times I start with a drum groove. Like I program a drum groove and then I see what I can come up to that drum groove. Then sometimes I'm just screwing around or practicing, and then I write something I like, and then I record that and I try to build up on that. And then there are times which I'll say it because I don't think a lot of other people will, but you don't feel like doing stuff, and you kind of have to kick your own ass to get stuff done. So you just sit there staring at the blank Reaper window for like 2 hours, trying to get yourself to like force yourself to write stuff. And then at some point something clicks, and then ideas just start to flow. So at some point, sometimes you just have to tough it out.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to just tough it out and do that kind of stuff. I understand that one. Now I try not to push things, but I do the same thing. You kind of start with a drum groove. Sometimes I have something on guitar already, and it kind of works.
Exactly.
My next one coming up, weirdly enough, it started with keyboards and drums. I was just trying to do something, and then I built a bunch of riffs around it, and it became, by the time I was done recording it, I haven't heard the final mixes yet, but by the time I was done, it's like, holy crap, I've got like this whole thing has been different. And I played it for a few people.
Yeah, speaking of keyboards, even I sometimes start with the programmed orchestral stuff. It's just generally, even like the upcoming single that's coming next week, that actually starts with an orchestral thing.
Oh man, that's going to be super cool. That's maybe we'll have to release this. Well, I don't know when we'll release this video. Probably this week and stuff. So hey, but if it ever comes out at the same time, the links are below. Hey, Arav's links are going to be below anyway. You can always check that out. Anyway, dude, where do you see yourself coming up playing music? So I feel like you have a lot of potential to keep this thing going and doing bigger stuff. You're doing a lot of awesome stuff now. And one of the things that you've got going for you, you've got a lot of time in your life, is generally speaking, that you're like, where you're going to be 17. I thought you were like 18 still. Yeah. And one of the things that sometimes, like, I wish I was that good when I was that age, but hey, I'm not going to sit here and live with regret. What do you think? Where's your future going? What do you plan on doing with music as of right now?
So actually now I've started putting myself like services on Fiverr. For example, I've started out relatively low, $150 for like a song, mixing and mastering, writing a guest guitar solo, composing a track for like a video game or an advertisement, and simple stuff like voiceover and podcast editing. So I put that up. Hopefully, that starts to take off a little bit. Then obviously there's my producer thing. So I just produced this EP for like this friend of mine whose albums get like 1 million streams on Spotify and stuff. This is an indie pop dude. So I'm hoping like that leads to some bigger opportunities as well. So the guy's called Dave, by the way, Dayve. He's got a great voice. So if people are into that stuff, that's maybe something they should check out. So yeah, I mean, like, I genuinely want to be in like this nice like category, like similar to Nolly, but not exactly. So like I have multiple projects. For example, I tour with a band, I come back, maybe take a couple of weeks off, and then just tour with another project or another band, continuously release and produce stuff, and then obviously like be able to like earn comfortably from like producing artists, like helping people release kick-ass music, mixing and mastering and all that. So yeah, that's where I'd like to be.
That's super cool, man. It's nice to have those kind of ambitions, and like we live in a different world now, like where at this point in time, like everybody's like, oh, we're gonna tour and we're gonna make it in this band. But now it's like you almost have to be like everything else. Like you're already there, like building that basis up. So just keep at it, and it can happen for you. It may take longer than you think. It may happen really quick. Just keep doing, keep learning, just progress, man. And the main thing is to keep up with that kind of thing, and maybe that can happen for you, man. That's super cool. So one of the things too, just before like we end up kind of ending this video, remember I released the song Distant back about 2 years ago, and you're like, man, this is a really cool song. And Yeah, like, and then you wrote a song inspired from it. You called it Ascent.
Yeah.
And I looked at YouTube and you had more views than I had on my song. And I was like, okay, this is actually really cool though, because I mean, like he did that because I did this one. And I thought that was awesome. And you had a really good video for that, man.
Thank you. I'm planning to do something similar for this one. Just get a cameraman to sort of, this time I'm trying to go for like a sunset or a sunrise thing. Hopefully I catch one around the community, and then just do a playthrough in like fancy, like or nice looking locations. That's all.
Yeah, man. The plan. That's one thing that when you're doing these kind of videos too, is that people are like, oh man, I don't have anything cool in my area. No, there's probably something cool in your area. You just need to go look for it. It's all about how creative you are, wherever you are. There's probably something.
Center's in the goddamn park.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things too is like, okay, I know we live in completely different places. Where I'm in Canada and you're over in India, but I think this is common consensus that there's nothing cool in my hometown. And now some hometowns are more boring than others for people. But the thing is that what we consider normal and boring, it could be exotic to somebody else. Like, wow, that's really beautiful. I could do this here and that. And it's just like what's normal to us is maybe not normal to somebody else. Like when I see pictures of like over like Italy, the Mediterranean, that area, it's like, wow, that's so alien to me. It's so different than what I'm used to. So it's really just go find a place and just do something, make the best thing you can out of it. I gotta think of a music video coming up here soon too, man, and they take a lot of effort. Do you like video editing?
Yeah.
You a video editor? Not really.
I do it for like my own videos. But for my music videos, it's usually like the guy, for Ascent we had a guy who like recorded and edited the video. And for To Take the Fall, which is the other music video I did, that was like being professionally done. So we had other people. I did that. Even like the album music videos will be done that way. And this one will probably be done by the cameraman or me. I don't know.
Okay. That's pretty cool. See, I do all of my own video editing and all that stuff, and I enjoy it to a point. Like something like this video will take a little bit of editing, not tons. I'll record a little intro separate from this, but it won't take a ton of effort to do this one, I don't think. Like we gotta cut a little part out, but it's not so bad. And one thing, if you were doing videos like this, one of the things I do like about doing interviews and podcasts is that I get to hang out with you instead of just DMing you. So it's great. So I get to talk to somebody. You get to talk about yourself. The editing's not so bad. The watch hours are pretty okay on them and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. For me, it's enjoyable. And I have to do something that I enjoy doing. And
absolutely. That's so accurate.
So and I needed some channel content anyway, and I'm trying to bring this one back. But one of the things is the music videos, what I like, but you'll have this like massive stack in your editor of all this footage, and you got to piece it together. But seeing it coming together is super enjoyable, especially the music video stuff. Not necessarily.
And honestly, some of this stuff doesn't really feel enjoyable like while you're doing it. But then at the end, you realize you actually had fun while doing it. I don't know, it's really weird. Like even for the album tracking stuff, like I'm really hard on myself for that stuff because this is being produced by and it's a professional release, like that's above what I usually do. So I have to be at my 100%. So I'm strict. Obviously, there's a little bit of cussing when I screw up a couple of stuff too many times and all of that stuff. But at the end, I realize like even though I'm putting myself through all, it's actually fun. I enjoy doing that because I feel like I've achieved something at the end of this thing.
And that's the main thing, is to have like you got a goal, you get there. Not everything's gonna be always super fun.
Exactly.
Like people, like here's the thing, like I think you are a young guy with the right kind of mindset. But some people think they look like they go, I want to do YouTube, but they don't have exactly an idea of what they want to do. Or they see the prank videos. The prank videos are massive for people. All these like kind of junky videos, and they look fun, but a lot of the thing with doing YouTube is that it's a process. The end product's almost like the fake part. That's one thing about doing videos like this with you and the other people who've been on here before, is that the actual filming of it is fun, and I tell you, doing music videos is actually really fun too. And recording though, like you said, every so often you think you're a good guitar player until the record buttons hit, and it's just
I swear.
And it's just like, man, you hear every imperfection. The only way to get better at it is just to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like when you're jamming along, it's like, I messed up a note, but this part went good. I think I'm ready. And then, it is definitely.
I feel that 100%. And honestly, now, because I'm a producer as well, I have to look at it from both sides of you. They're like, should I let it slide? I'm like, no, are you stupid? No, you can't let that slide. This is, you gotta get that right.
Yeah. And you have to get it right before the mixing and mastering.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, the better you get it at the recording stage, the less work you'll have to do at the mix. Like, you'll have to do at the mixing stage, and that's like the key, like the absolute key to getting good stuff. And so many people just skimp out like badly tuned vocals. I'll auto tune it later. And all that. Obviously, like if it sounds good, there's small imperfections. Obviously, patch it up. Obviously, edit your guitars. But like if you can't get the best take you can possibly give before that, what's the point of you writing it anyway?
That's, man, there's some advice right there from a guy a lot younger than probably a lot of the audience around here on the internet and stuff. It's like, it's true. You have to get it right now. And that's the same way with doing videos or whatever it is that you're working on in this realm, is that you have to get it right first. And it's just less messing around. It's like your guitar tone. You get your guitar tone right, the mix is way easier because you're not messing with.
And even I don't know if you watch Frightbox recording.
Oh man, Bobby! I've got to get Bobby on here next. He said he would do it. Bobby's awesome.
He's a great dude. Yeah, we've spoken over email multiple times, and he's given me feedback on some of my mixes earlier on. He's a really chill dude. But yeah, so even his stuff, like the way he simplifies stuff and breaks it down, you don't need expensive gear. You don't need all that shit. As long as you have a functioning place, you can get stuff done. And honestly, I really feel that. And a lot of the time, the fun is in doing stuff with like a disadvantage. So my band stuff, we recorded the drums through an e-kit. Something got screwed up. We had a bad timeline, the grunge band. So I had to sit there manually editing each and every drum hit to make it sound somewhat on time. The samples, Get Good Drums for some reason blanked out with the e-kit. So I had to blend in 2-3 free sample libraries and then blend in some other samples to make it sound like a cohesive drum kit. The guitar sound all went fine. Vocals, it was with this crappy thing. And I had to make that sound like it was for a record. And at the end of it, it was so much fun because the Indian word for this is jugaad, which is like low budget solutions. Like, and it's honestly just so much fun. You have all this coming, like, okay, fine, let's see what I can do either way.
A lot of people think that if they bought all the expensive stuff, that it's just going to be great out of the box. But, you know, here's the thing: all the expensive stuff won't do any good if you don't know how to use it. You just sit there like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you'll freak. And it can only be half as bad as OBS though. That is just hell. This is why we're here to like say, it's like, okay, you didn't have something working, I didn't have something working. Arav, this was an awesome time to hang out with you, man. And
same here, dude.
It was
fantastic.
Super cool because we've been chatting back and forth for a few years, so it's just super cool to have you on here. His links are below and all that stuff. So in the typical YouTube fashion, it's gonna be click the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. You can do that over on his channel, but he's on Spotify and all that. Check out Stream, and he's got a new release coming up. It might be out by the time this video's up. Chances are it probably is. Check out all that. Stream was super good. I added that to the Wavemaker and Friends playlist with the pre-release of Wavemaker. So you guys all have an awesome day, and me and Arav will see you around on the internet. That's most likely we're gonna see each other because we're like a half world away. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
you know how it goes. All right, you guys have an awesome day, and we will see you on the next video. See yous.